If someone joins only because you're lost, pressured, or trying to escape your problems, military may not magically fix those things. It might actually amplify them. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Journey to Sailor. Good to have you back. A lot of people think joining the military is only about being tough. They think if you can do push-ups, yell loudly, or survive boot camp, then you're automatically built for military life. But honestly, that's not really what determines whether someone succeeds. Because I've seen people who look physically unstoppable and completely fall apart under pressure. And I've seen quite average-looking people become some of the strongest, dependable sailors. So the real question is, are you actually right for the military? And I think the answer has less to do with muscle and more to do with mindset. Because military life changes almost everything about your normal routine. You lose comfort, privacy, control over a lot of your schedule, and suddenly you're surrounded by stress, pressure, noise, rules, inspections, and people constantly depending on you. Some people adapt into that environment, but others hate every second of it. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. One of the biggest misconceptions is that everyone should join the military because it builds character. But the truth is, military life is not for everyone. Some people value freedom and independence over structure. Some people struggle being told what to do constantly. And some people don't do well living in close quarters with strangers. That doesn't make someone weak, but if you're thinking about joining, you need to be honest with yourself before signing that contract. Because once you're in, it becomes very real, very fast, especially at boot camp. Boot camp strips away comfort immediately. The yelling, the exhaustion, the pressure, the constant corrections. You're expected to move fast, think fast, and work as a team even when you barely know the people around you. And that's where a lot of people struggle. Not because they're lazy, but because teamwork is harder than most people expect. In the military, your attitude affects everything. If one person quits mentally, it impacts the entire group. And sometimes that pressure becomes overwhelming. A lot of recruits walk into boot camp thinking, I'll just focus on myself. But that mindset usually changes quickly. Because military culture is built around accountability and teamwork. People depend on you, and you depend on them. That's why some people who succeed best aren't always the loudest or strongest. Usually it's the people who stay calm under pressure, the people who are willing to learn, and the people who can take criticism without falling apart emotionally. That's a huge one. Can you handle being corrected constantly without taking it personally? Because in the military, especially early on, somebody is always going to tell you that you did something wrong. Sometimes respectfully, sometimes aggressively. And if every correction destroys your confidence, military life becomes extremely difficult mentally. Another important question is, how do you respond to discomfort? Because military life can be uncomfortable in ways civilians don't always understand. Long hours, little sleep, missing holidays, being away from family, standing watches, living in small spaces, and working when you're exhausted. And sometimes dealing with leadership you don't agree with. The last one surprises a lot of people. You won't always like your chain of command. You won't always agree with their decisions. Sometimes you'll feel frustrated. The people who survive longest usually learn emotional control. Not emotional suppression, but emotional control. There is a difference. You can feel frustrated without losing discipline. And honestly, discipline is probably one of the biggest indicators of whether someone is right for the military. Not motivation, discipline. Because motivation comes and goes. Some mornings you wake up motivated. Other mornings you don't want to do anything. But discipline is what carries people through the days. And the military has plenty of hard days. Another thing people should think about is why they want to join. Because your reason matters. If someone joins only because you're lost, pressured, or trying to escape your problems, military may not magically fix those things. It might actually amplify them. Military life can absolutely create opportunities like steady pay, benefits, travel, structure and friendships, and life experiences. But it also forces you to confront yourself. Your weaknesses become visible very quickly. Your patience, your attitude, your work ethic, and maturity. Everything gets tested. And that can either help someone grow tremendously or it can overwhelm them. Now, with all that being said, you do not need to be perfect to join the military. A lot of people think I'm not tough enough, I'm not athletic enough, I'm too nervous. But confidence usually comes after experience, not before it. Most recruits are nervous. Most recruits doubt themselves, and most feel overwhelmed at some point. That's normal. The real question is whether you're willing to keep moving forward when things become difficult, because resilience matters more than perfection. Some of the best people in the military are not naturally fearless people. They're people who learned how to push through fear. That's a huge difference. And honestly, if you're someone who wants growth, structure, challenge, and purpose, the military can absolutely change your life in a positive way. You'll probably discover strengths you never even knew you had. You'll meet people from completely different backgrounds, and you'll gain stories and experiences that most civilians will never really understand. But you'll also sacrifice things: time, comfort, freedom, energy, and you gotta decide whether that trade-off is worth it to you. Not your parents, not your friends, not your recruiter, but you. Because at the end of the day, only you know what kind of life you want. And there's no shame in realizing that the military either is or isn't right for you. The important thing is to make an honest decision instead of chasing image. Because the military is more than uniforms and motivational videos. It's responsibility, it's pressure, it's teamwork, sacrifice, growth, and sometimes failure. And not everyone succeeds immediately. Some people struggle badly at first, but the people who usually make it are the ones who stay adaptable, humble, and mentally resilient. So if you're asking yourself whether or not you're right for the military, don't just ask, am I tough enough? Ask yourself, can I work with people? Can I handle criticism? Can I stay disciplined when I'm tired? Can I adapt under pressure? Can I keep going even when things stop being comfortable? Those questions matter more. And if you can honestly say yes to most of them, you may be more prepared than you think. Well, that'll do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your attention. Give me a question, give me a comment down below. I love to answer those questions that you guys have. If you haven't checked out this video right here or this video right here, please do so. Feel free to hit that like button and that subscribe button anytime, please. And I will see you next time.